Welcome to Rebuilding the Artist, a podcast that explores the intersection of identity, creativity, and mental health in the arts. I'm your host, Rashida Black, a therapist and former musician, here to help you navigate the pressures and challenges of a world that often demands perfection at the cost of well-being. This podcast is about reclaiming your sense of self between all of the expectations and harsh self-talk. Whether you're an artist or supporting a creative, join us as we explore building resilience and living authentically. Welcome back. I'm kidding. I don't have any rights to sing that song. I'm recording this episode after just listening to a Fresh Air interview that my producer, Walker Vreeland, sent to me of Tracy Morgan after I expressed some concerns about this podcast. Walker and I have known each other since we were teenagers at a arts high school. And I was telling him that the arts are underfunded, and most people talk about the topic with these like rose tinted glasses, like the arts are this panacea. And I just, that infuriates me because it marginalizes those of us who did not have all the sunshine and rainbows in the arts, and so I was like, what am I doing? I don't want to be a wet blanket for the arts because, I still want people to be artists, but how the hell is this podcast going to survive when what I'm pointing out are like the snakes in Eden, even though I'm, talking about tips on what to do about the snake. I'm lost in metaphor. And so the point, right? Walker was like, artists don't just do their craft. They also endure harmful stereotypes and invisible pressures that can be fatal, which he and I know, unfortunately, or just impact our ability to contribute to our art. And that's what the podcast is addressing. So, not just to identify the issues, but then also to offer practical solutions so that artists can thrive, right? So Walker sent me this NPR interview just kind of as evidence of an artist navigating life. And it triggered a memory. I remember watching Tracy Morgan on Def Comedy Jam in the 90s and thinking, wow, this guy is not funny. He's just, like an awkward stereotype. I remember feeling so culturally and racially embarrassed by his character, or maybe just by him. I couldn't really tell, but there was a lot that I was already experiencing at that age. And then I thought, this is not the image, the representation that is going to help us advance as a people. It was just, there just seemed to be a lot of kind of pressure, and I was really feeling it, So then fast forward to Tracy being on SNL and then 30 Rock, and just the evolution of Tracy Morgan couldn't have been more stark. And so in this interview, Tracy's vulnerability exemplifies the central theme of this podcast about, transforming and incorporating all of the aspects of our lives into our art. So as we wrap up this first season of Rebuilding the Artist, I just want to take a moment to woosah. Let me take a breath right now myself. And to reflect and celebrate the journey that we've been on together. So you, listener, and I have explored how creativity intertwines with mental health and identity and healing. And now in this final episode, let's take a step back to look at the bigger picture, right? To remember the lessons, the takeaways, and see how we can use these gems to keep moving forward. So in the first episode, we dismantled the glamorization of that tired, tortured artist trope, right? It's that trope that probably prompts most people, to say very typical things to me when I tell them that my focus is on helping artists. They're all, why? They don't have any money, right? And like, oh, that's a gross generalization. Don't do that. And so sometimes I have to gently, and sometimes not so gently, check that chin. Like, first of all, I'm always people over profits. But secondly, the expressive arts, creative arts, performing arts, whatever it is, embodies so much more than, poverty or torture or starvation. Those can be components of life, yes, but that is not the entire demographic. Don't do that, right? The arts and mental health are deeply intertwined, yes, and also require a foundation of care and honesty and resilience that not everybody can speak to, certainly not every therapist, right? And that's not even like a subtle flex, because what I bring to the table is, rather than romanticizing pain, I'm really here to honor our truth as artists. And so then in the second episode, we explore that need for community. While it's tempting to isolate when we're super, involved, obsessed about something, as most artists can get, or even when we're feeling alienated due to, some struggles that we have, we learned from that episode that belonging isn't about fitting in, but it's about finding a place that offers a foundation, that offers the stability that's needed to grow, to launch, right? And to explore ourselves creatively. And we don't have to do that alone, right? But we need to know how to build that community, that safe space around us that allows us to thrive, right? We need that village to combat the isolation that can be really damaging. And so then the belonging, it provides that grounding that allows us to do what we want to do what we do what we were put here to do. Okay. I feel like, those of us who are artists, we know what our purpose is. And this podcast really is about navigating all of the roadblocks so that we can live our purpose. So by the third episode, we were discussing how to do that without going too far, right? So that was about the myth of self-sacrifice in the creative process. And so yes, art demands vulnerability, of course, but it doesn't require the erosion of our boundaries, okay? That's why we're saying no to, love donations. We need to be paid in bills, cash money, because we have bills to pay. So preserving our mental and emotional health is the priority. It has to always be the priority so that we can do what we do, right? And that pressure on artists to give it all away is just a damaging, exploitative idea that has been perpetuated by people who want to benefit from what we do without contributing. Okay, but that's not how energy works. We don't have time for me to be woo-woo right now. Look, the point here is just, maintaining our boundaries preserves our mental and emotional health and also allows others to know that we know our value. In episode 4, we talked about reclaiming our voice by embracing our unique perspectives and challenging systems that strip away our personal identity. As artists, as people, especially younger people, we feel the pressure to conform, right? But true healing and creativity comes from embracing our individuality and expressing, our intersections. Right? And so art kind of is a way of saying, this is who I am. And I feel like that's the most profound message that we can send, right? Or the statement that we can make about personhood, about human existence. I don't want to get too meta. So, but by the time we got to the 5th episode, you were primed. You were ready to receive this premise that creativity is a tool for self-healing. Right? We looked at how the act of creation can be a powerful way to process trauma and build resilience. Right? Basically, expression is a survival skill. It's how we process and heal and move forward. It's how we express the things that words alone can't capture, And then in the last episode, we explored the connection between identity, struggle, and resilience, right? And that kind of little trifecta that's essential to an artist's healing journey. And I mentioned that our identities and our struggles are kind of interwoven into the art that we create. And that's not to say that I didn't try to cancel Wagner while I was in college because of his, anti-Semitic beliefs, right? I'm just saying that it's difficult to perform music by racists. And I just want to be clear that while I'm advocating for interjecting ourselves into our art, I have my limitations and biases, right? Like, don't be racist, But maybe we'll explore ways to navigate playing roles or performing, composers that are at odds at our beliefs at some point. That's a loaded topic. The point right now, though, is that the journey of reclaiming ourselves as an artist is ongoing, right? And it's about learning how to integrate all parts of who we are, finding power in our truth, and then showing up fully in our creative life, right? So then when we look at all of those themes together, we see that healing as an artist isn't just about one thing, right? It's about community and boundaries and self-expression and maybe ultimately just about reclaiming the parts of ourselves that have been scattered or lost along the way. Gosh, I have so much more to say about this. Oh. And so this season, while we talked about the importance of resisting the, romanticizing of self-neglect, right? And instead finding our voice and using our creativity as a tool for survival, we learned that healing and reclaiming our creative self is an ongoing process. And I always encourage you to keep questioning and keep creating and keep connecting with the communities that lift you up. I want to invite you to just revisit these episodes when you need to, just reflect on your journey and, of course, keep showing up for yourself because you are the artist. You are the healer. You are the storyteller of your own life. And so as we close this season, you don't need me to give you permission, but I just invite you to keep these conversations alive. Journal about it. Talk to your creative friends. Make art from a place of truth. And just know that we are not done here, right? This journey, of course, each of our individual and also collective journeys continues. And it'll continue in the next season. Hello? When we have even more voices joining the conversation. We are going to be speaking with artists who have walked their own paths of healing and reclaimed or are in a state of reclaiming their creative selves. They'll share their personal stories that dive deep into some of the themes that we explored this season, like identity and creativity and self-care, and also the challenges of staying true in a demanding world. And their experiences are going to emphasize enrich the conversations that we've already started, right? They're going to offer you those real world insights into what it takes to rebuild as an artist in today's world. How exciting is that? Woo! I know, I can't wait. So you all come back, tune in, stay connected, and we'll talk again real soon. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to Rebuilding the Artist. We hope today's conversation left you feeling inspired, connected, and more in tune with your creative self. Remember, this journey is about progress, not perfection. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with fellow artists who need to hear these stories. You can also follow us on Instagram at Kimura Wellness for more insights and updates. That's Kimura Wellness, Khemura Wellness. Join us next time as we continue to explore what it means to rebuild and heal as an artist. Until then, keep creating, keep questioning, and above all, keep showing up for yourself. You are the artist. You are the storyteller of your life.